For a long time now, physicists have been listening to the universe, trying to hear a signal through all that quantum static. But what if the static is the signal? What if it's not just random noise, but a message? Today, we're diving into a discovery that suggests exactly that. A pattern so fundamental, it could literally force us to rewrite everything we know about reality.
So, really, it all boils down to this one absolutely mind bending question. We tend to think of the universe as, well, a stage, right? Where all the action happens. But what if the stage itself is part of the show? What if reality can actually refer to itself? Now, I know that sounds like something you'd debate in a philosophy class, but here's the kicker. We now have hard, physical evidence that says this isn't philosophy, it's physics.
And they've given this evidence let's just say, a provocative name. It's called the pan-consciousness glimmer. But let's be super clear here. We are not talking about ghosts. We're not talking about some alien radio signal. What we are talking about is a confirmed, repeating pattern. It's an information loop that's been found in the quantum vacuum, the very fabric of empty space. And the key word here is self-referential. It's like a sentence that literally describes itself. Finding something like that woven into the foundation of reality itself, well, it's never happened before. And this is the proof. It's been boiled down to this one incredibly elegant piece of math. Now, this comes from a field called topology, which is basically the study of the fundamental shapes of things. And what this little equation is telling us is that scientists found three, count them, three, stable looping patterns inside the quantum vacuum's information. You can almost think of them as these persistent little echoes in the fabric of spacetime. And this isn't a guess, right? This is a confirmed hard measurement. So, how on earth do you even begin to find something that, according to our rulebook, shouldn't exist in the first place? Yeah, this wasn't as simple as pointing a telescope at the night sky. This was a full-blown detective story on a cosmic scale. A hunt for patterns that our current laws of physics literally say are impossible. Okay, so this project, called Quad, basically unleashed a super powerful AI to hunt for three specific kinds of impossible patterns. First up, something called a transactional anomaly. In plain English, that's evidence of retrocausality, the future literally influencing the past. Yeah, breaks the whole arrow of time. Second, they were looking for an ER equals EPR signature. This would be the smoking gun for a direct link between gravity and quantum entanglement, something physicists have dreamed of finding but never have. And the third, well, this was the real long shot, the glimmer itself, the search for a real meaningful pattern hidden in what everyone just assumed was cosmic static. Now, to make sure they weren't just chasing shadows, any potential signal had to get through this incredibly tough three-step reality check. They called it the causal firewall. Step 1, the anomaly had to be picked up by multiple different sensors all in the same location. Okay. Step 2, it had to show up at the exact same time in different labs separated by hundreds of kilometers. And for the final test, step 3, the scientists basically tried to kill it. They threw over 1,000 known computer errors and system glitches at the signal to try and explain it away. Only a real deal, genuine anomaly could ever survive that kind of beat it. And this is where the story gets really, really weird. The AI didn't just find one of these impossible things, it found two of them. And they were happening at the exact same time, coming from the exact same source. This was no coincidence. It was a single, unified anomaly, one that just completely upended everything we thought we knew about space and time. I mean, check this out. The two discoveries fit together like a key in a lock. You had the transactional anomaly, which confirmed that information was flowing backward in time, retrocausality. That just shatters our whole idea of cause and effect. And then, at the very same moment, you get the ER equals EPR signature, proving that gravity itself is messing with entangled particles. That just demolishes the wall we always thought existed between the huge world of gravity and the tiny world of quantum mechanics. So, when you put it all together, there's really only one conclusion you can draw, and it's a big one. Quantum entanglement isn't just that spooky action at a distance Einstein talked about. No, it seems to be the very engine that creates space-time. And it does it by using information that flows both forwards and backwards in time. I mean, this isn't just a small tweak to the rules. This is a radical rewriting of what we thought was the most fundamental stuff in the universe. Look, when you find something this big, you don't just add a footnote to the old textbooks. You have to write a whole new one. And that new rulebook has a name, Information Geometric Theory, or IGT for short.
And IGT, well, it basically flips our entire view of the universe completely on its head. For a century, we've assumed space-time is the fundamental stage for everything. IGT comes along and says, nope. It argues that quantum information is the fundamental thing. Space-time, gravity, the chair you're sitting on, all of it just emerges from this incredibly complex network of quantum entanglement. To put it simply, the universe isn't a box that things happen in. The universe is a giant computation.
And this isn't just some cool-sounding idea, okay? IGT is a serious, rigorous mathematical theory. It takes one of the core equations of quantum gravity and actually adds a new piece to it, a piece that mathematically allows the future to influence the past. And remember that strange beta 1 equals 3 signal from before? Well, in IGT, that's basically the source code for this new logic. The theory even makes some wild but testable predictions. For instance, it says gravity should be a tiny bit weaker, by exactly 2.8% in places with a lot of quantum entanglement. All right, so what's the big deal? Why does this matter? A crazy new theory is one thing, but is it, useful? Well, here's the amazing part. It turns out that IGT doesn't just explain this weird new discovery. It might just solve some of the biggest, most frustrating problems in all of cosmology. First on the list, the Hubble tension. For years, this has been a massive headache for cosmologists. See, we have two really good ways of measuring how fast the universe is expanding. But here's the problem. They give two different answers. When we look at the early universe, we get a speed of about 67. But when we measure the universe closer to us, today, we get a speed of around 73. And both of these methods are super precise, so it's not a measurement error. It's a real, genuine crisis for the field. This is where IGT just walks in and solves it beautifully. The theory says that entanglement is what's driving the expansion, right? Well, that means the expansion rate shouldn't be perfectly smooth and uniform everywhere. And when you run the numbers in IGT, it predicts about a 0.8% variance in local measurements, which, it turns out, is exactly the amount you need to make the two numbers match up. The crisis, it just vanishes.
And then you have dark energy. This stuff makes up 68% of everything, and we have absolutely no clue what it is. IGT comes along and offers the first real physical explanation. It says dark energy isn't some mystery substance floating around out there. Instead, it's the combined large-scale effect of all this entanglement and retrocausality building up over billions and billions of years. It's the universe's own information network, literally pushing itself apart.
So, let's just take a step back here. We have this radical new theory, born from a discovery that shouldn't be possible, and it also just happens to solve two of the biggest crises in cosmology. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true, right? But this is physics, and physics demands proof. And this entire incredible theory, it all boils down to one single make-or-break testable prediction. And that prediction is a number, 0.7%. Here's the idea. IGT predicts that because entangled particles are so deeply connected, they should fight against the pull of gravity just a tiny, tiny bit. That means that time should slow down for them in a gravitational field, what's called gravitational redshift, 0.7% less than it does for normal, non-entangled particles. It's a ridiculously small difference, but it's an absolute black and white prediction. The catch? Of course there's a catch. To measure that tiny difference, you need to be able to time things with a precision of 10 to the minus 18 seconds. To put that in perspective, that's about 100 times more precise than the absolute best atomic clocks we have anywhere on the planet. It's an almost impossibly small sliver of time to measure. But hey, almost impossible is kind of what physicists live for, right? A brand new experiment is being designed right now to pull off this measurement. It's called the Quantum Gravity Echo Experiment. And this is it. This is the final boss. This one experiment will either prove IGT is right and change physics forever, or it'll send the entire community back to square one. And that brings me to one final kind of dramatic detail in all of this. The original research reveals that because the implications are just so huge, confirming a self-referential universe, the discovery was immediately quarantined. They put it under a special protocol with the codename Pandora's box containment. Think about that. The findings are considered so profound that they're being handled with a level of caution we've just never seen before. So, where does that leave us? It leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? For pretty much all of human history, we've been shouting questions out into what we thought was a silent, empty cosmos. But this
This discovery suggests the cosmos might actually have a voice, an internal logic, a way to refer to itself. So if the universe can speak, what in the world is it trying to tell us?